Welcome back again into the Proven Alliance studio, my friends out there. Dean, welcome back. Good to see you again.
Right.
Um, Dean, we wanted to talk about search. We were on a call a few weeks ago, and we just kind of got into it and thought it'd be a good thing to talk about with the recording light on. Um, the sort of note that I had here was the evolution
Mm.
of search and at Flywheel, we're building digital experiences and we've got a tech team and some UX folks, but you're focused exclusively on the user experience and the design of this. Why did it even resonate for you as something that you had an opinion about?
Boy, that's a good question. I think it starts back with the baseline understanding that people have of this thing called the internet. There's very few things associated with the internet that pretty much everyone knows, and they kind of know very early. For instance, you can scroll down to see more stuff.
Right.
If you click a link, it goes somewhere. And if you use the back button, you can go back. These are very basic things that even novice users or new users kind of realize that this is kind of how it works.
Yep.
And right after that, it's that you can find stuff. You can go and put in this search, put something into a search bar and get something as a result. It's
Mm-hmm.
something you want, something you need, something you're interested in. And this was an early part of how the internet worked. And I even remember the day that Google showed up. That's how
Yeah.
old I
Yeah.
am, Scott. And
Oh
it was this
man, Ask
revolutionary
Jeeves,
thing.
Yahoo.
Yeah, it was this revolutionary Alta Vista. Ask
Yeah.
Jeeves, right? It was just this one bar, and all you had to do was give it a go, and it was
Yeah.
sort of saying search is a central thing. And from a user experience perspective, we've always known that because users kind of fall into two categories. There are people who like to look for things by hunting around, and there's people who always, always, always search.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've known that from the beginning. So search has always been important. Google built a huge business around it. It's obviously a big deal, but it is evolving, and how the things we make need to respond to that is sort of the issue I'm interested in.
I love it. And so, um, how has search evolved? Like we got into it the other day, but there's a
Mhm.
moment I think that
Yeah.
we're currently experiencing, and obviously AI is paramount to that.
Mm.
But what does it mean to sort of from your vantage point, from your viewpoint, to see search evolving, and from a I guess with your UX hat on, um, where's that going, and what do
Mm.
we need to know about that journey?
Well, anytime there's a great technology that makes people a lot of money and people like and they use and all this stuff, it's going to get pushed and evolved.
Right.
And you can think about Google and what you see in your browser as at first you had to go to Google, and then well your browser top sort of bar became search. That became easier. Search results were categorized for you, and then SEO explodes to give you better results that they're more relevant to you. And then we start learning more about you to tailor results to you. And then there's
Right.
algorithms that feed stuff to you before you search for it. Right now, um, we are in a place where search is sort of at this point where we got in my opinion, sort of like max Google.
Yeah.
You went
Yeah.
to Google and you get like so many results, and they're so hard to see what is what and to find really what you want, even though all these tools are working for you, because now you
Right.
have some search that occurs outside of sites, some that sits on your window to the
Yeah.
right or whatever. You have ad supported search. You don't know what's being boosted or not. So all
Right.
that stuff works against people finding things. And then there's this idea that you want to put search in your own site,
Mm-hmm.
and you want the search in your site to be not just perfunctory and just thrown in at the last minute because that's what we do, but if you really want it to be good, you have to spend a lot of time thinking about it. How am I you Is it a Google search? How am I using it? Am I
Right.
going further? Am I going to use a tool like, we're focused on Sitefinity, and we
Yep.
use a tool called Cluedo that
Oh yeah.
works well with Sitefinity, that boosts. the way in which you can show search results. You can now show them contextually in a better way. You could show them with images in a much stronger visual way.
Right.
You can identify different types of content. You can do crazy type after searching. See, this is all trying to get something in front of a user that's better and easier for them. And all of that has evolved further now into this notion of natural language search. So now we just want to just write something in, and maybe there's some type ahead, and maybe it just answers the question. And all of this is happening outside of the sites we build, and it's happening inside of the sites we built. And it's a struggle to keep up with, to be honest, but it's also fascinating and interesting.
And sorry, go ahead. You're gonna.
No, please.
So I think that this is both compelling and overwhelming at the same time. And I think it's a huge opportunity for folks out there who are building their own digital experience, who are content managers, digital experience managers. There's this pressure to be like, how do I even raise up to the level of what these tech behemoths have been able to accomplish? I just need people to find the right thing on my own website.
Yeah. That's really two different ways you have to think about it, because at one point you exist in this vast digital ecosystem that is essentially outside of your control. And people will find things the way they're going to find things. And it's always been hard for people to grasp, even from the beginning of the internet, is the absolute lack of control you have over what users are doing. So you have to plan for this lack of control. And that might be, for instance, that you have no true idea where people will come into your content. That changes the way you think about it. It changes the way you view your site. No one comes in and deals with your site the way you think. And we're I'll get into in a minute. We're about to level that up all over again. But in terms of what you were trying to do in your site, you have to ask yourself, to what extent is a search in your own site being used? You need to lean on analytics and lean on behavioral tracking to understand that. And you need both of those things to reinforce the other. If you have a very large site, in-site searching is extremely important, especially if you're very specialized. Think of a hospital and who has doctors and doctor practices, and they do need to be found from within a site. But they are very specialized. And so this perfunctory dropping a search in, that's gone.
Keyword matching.
That no longer works. You've got to really invest in it. So if your site itself requires a deep search, it's one of the more important things you could focus time, attention, and money on, because it's going to be the most sort of bang for your buck. And it's self-reinforcing with all the other information and analytics you're dealing with.
I mean, I don't know what the metrics are off the top of my head, but an overwhelmingly significant amount of traffic and interaction goes to the search icon on any website that has it. And you want to make sure that those results and that experience is helpful. People will just as quickly disappear from an unhelpful website as they will from one that has poor products and poor services. I loved what you said about using the analytics to understand this. Sometimes you do need to just turn it on so that you can start collecting information, so that you have data to make decisions against. Being able to produce results that are faceted, that show you, the hospital example is a good one. E-commerce is another, where are you looking for the assembly instructions? Are you trying to buy it? Are you trying to get support? Are you trying to share it with? And so there's different categories of information that might hit with the same term.
That's correct.
And we're all being trained now also to keep AI at an arm's length away so that, we can get through a day. And people are going to expect that kind of a user interface when they visit your website.
100%. That is where we're headed. And there, I'll sort of leave you with two things to contemplate. One is what is going to happen as these large language models get better and better and better. and people find answers about you outside of the context of your site, and they're not necessarily even showing up. And you have whole new strategic ways to measure success, because sometimes success is going to be they never even showed up.
Right. On your site.
And
Yeah.
right, that's a real thing, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a new way to think about what it means for people to encounter you
Right.
in this ecosystem. So large language models have just barely begun,
Yeah.
and we're going to have to also be thinking about how search works within our sites based on the expectation people have. We are just shy of people just wanting to speak to a site and just
Yes.
get what they want. We are so close to that, it's not even funny. And we've talked to a lot of clients who they already know what the holy grail is, that I simply
Right.
say what I want, type what I want, or say what I want,
Yeah.
and the entirety of search results from within this stratified ecosystem of my own site
Yeah.
completely responds to that. We're not there yet, but it is not far away. We're going to
Well,
see
I'll
it.
tell you, we're in conversations with clients to make sure that there are API endpoints available so that AI can automate those kinds of workflows. We're into embedding AI that has a contextual awareness of just your own content, and
Absolutely.
bringing those kinds of user experiences forward. My opinion is you don't have to get too overwhelmed or freaked out about this. If you've got a good, solid content strategy and you're thinking
Agreed.
traditional SEO properties, if you can do that effectively, there's some other technical details we need to talk about for AI, but you will be well on your way to being ready for this new horizon if you are thinking about your structure and your user experience from that part of the strategy as well.
I couldn't agree more. There's no substitute for that.
Yeah.
And all these newfangled tools, they need something to grab onto. So you have to have coherence at the baseline, for
That's
sure.
exactly it. Yeah, I love that. Dean, I think this is the kind of conversation that we could go on and on for quite a
For
long
sure.
time with a lot of enthusiasm. So thank you for these thoughts today, and I do look forward to the next time we get to bring this topic forward.
Great. Thank
All
you,
right,
Scott.
take care, everybody.